Hello, my friends. I love spending time with you, so welcome. So glad that you're here. And I wanted to continue the discussion about wisdom, and today to talk about two other places where you can find it. The first one is the nature's wisdom. You know, nature has such wisdom where we can tap into it because our bodies are part of our beautiful Earth Mother. We are connected with natural wisdom. And it is profound. It can help for you to synchronize yourself and your spirit and your body by just being in touch with appreciating the cycles of day and night, of the moon. If you happen to be by the ocean, by the waves of the ocean, and the turning of the seasons, regardless where you are in the world. And when you allow yourself to connect with this, it helps for you to center. It helps for you to get away from the noise that can be in your head or with your emotions or what have you. And with that, just appreciating. In the Native American tradition, we find that there is a lot of wisdom that ties into the second form of wisdom, which is divine/sacred wisdom. They do intertwine because nature, we believe, is an expression of the sacred. And is the reasons as to why when you go out anywhere, it doesn't matter what part of the world or the country you might be, when you're there and you allow yourself to learn from the animals, to observe the trees, to observe the natural world around you, there is so much to be learned, not even just scientifically. Observing the strategies that a crow might have in order to thrive is very different than the survival strategies of a honeybee. And when you connect with the natural world and just breathe, it allows for you to purify, it allows for you to center. If you're open to ask, who are your helpers? Who would be as your inspiration, whether it be as an animal or a plant, it could be the stones and the mountains themselves. This deeper connection can give you aha moments that go beyond yourself, beyond the scope of the self. And just really appreciating how the natural world works together as a web of life can help for you to heal you by you feeling that connection, how you are part of that sacred thread. And also, too, by observing how the natural world works together in harmony, how you can even reflect on having different aspects of yourself or different aspects of your life to begin to work together in harmony. The thing about the beautiful natural world is that it simply is. And too many times we need to learn how to simply be. Just breathing, touching, seeing with your eyes, listening to the winds, smelling the smells of nature. And even if you're in the city, it doesn't matter. Exhaust is not so much fun, but even going to a park, there are birds that still live there, and so on. And even when I'm in a busy place, whether when malls used to be popular or if I go to a city, just being by the trees, going to a park, even if I'm in an inside atrium where there's greenery, going to an aquarium, having an aquarium. But the idea of connecting with nature's wisdom is allowing yourself to move beyond just the simple human experience and being able to sense and to feel with your heart, your mind, and your spirit. Those, we say, are relations. We call all those beings of nature our relations because we say that we all come from the breath of the Creator. Which brings me to the second type of wisdom that you can also tap into. So as I mentioned previously, we believe that there's a lot of sacred and divine wisdom in nature because it is from the breath of Creator from which we all come from. But moving beyond this world, even though it is connected to the sacred and divine world, going into, when you're studying with the divine, it is connecting with sacred beings beyond yourself. It is connecting with your own spirit. So when you're talking about sacred, connecting with the sacred self, that goes beyond this 3D existence, connecting with sacred beings, whether it be the angelics, and it could be divine, like deities, gods and goddesses and so forth. And with that, studying different lessons and sacred teachings, of which religion is a part. It's not exclusive, because what I found through all of my walk in this incarnation, and it's not a new discovery, is that all sacred and divine paths speak universal truths about loving one another, about being compassionate to selves and other, of this idea of unity. And they all get to the same place. It's only when you have any ideology, it doesn't matter where it comes from, that tries to separate itself or you from others, that can create conflict and can create inner conflict. So divine wisdom is meant to help you to transcend the limitations of the self, to transcend the limitations of culture, so it can honor and come from a culture, whether it be Native American culture, it could be Hinduism, it could be Buddhism, Judaism, whatever ism it is. But the idea is to connect with what is divine within you, to connect what is sacred around you. The earth is sacred, to connect with divine beings and sacred beings, so that in this way, there's not the clutter of everyday noise of society, to get beyond the noise, to be able to connect with your own soul, and through that connect with the oneness that there is, and from that oneness there is a transcendence in this way. So when you want to connect with the divine, it can be as simple as, and I'll tell you, in my tradition, we say that when you go outside on a beautiful day and you're with nature and you just go, in that moment we say you have touched the face of the Great Spirit. It can be as simple as that. Prayer, meditation, doing acts of kindness. All of these things are also equally powerful and valid to connecting with sacred and divine wisdom, as well as reading sacred wisdom, different teachings, different philosophies that talk about going beyond the self. But I'm going to say, but not excluding the self. So I do need to add that. It is not at the price of hurting or excluding the self, but that of unity. So when you do it in this way, what happens is, though, I can say with any form of wisdom, it doesn't matter where the wisdom comes from, one key component that you have to do is, and it'll be listen with your heart, as well as listening with your ears and with all of your senses. If you're truly going to be able to gather what wisdom is going to be useful to you, it's key that you are truly listening with your entire being. What resonates? What is the energy that is there? What images or impressions or emotions does it solicit? And if it truly is of a higher, I'm going to say, divine order, you're not going to be made to feel guilty or miserable or excluded or that something's wrong with you. All right? We all are works in progress. There's not a single graduate amongst us, which is why we are incarnated here on this beautiful college of Earth Mother. But it would never be to the point where you're made to feel as if somehow you are not a worthy soul, you're not a worthy being. Any true wisdom, especially of a sacred or divine wisdom that comes from a higher space, is going to give you encouragement to become a better person, will give you nourishment in order to be able to want to be motivated to go forward, will be healing so that you are made whole. That's what holy means, is to be made whole. And through that wholeness, there is oneness. So that's what I wanted to share with you, is that in this discussion of wisdom, and we initially started with the self again with my previous video, that it is not as difficult as it seems. I know it's very romantic to think about going on this great pilgrimage, which is valid, and going on a high hill and finding some teacher in some reclusive, hard-to-find temple, which is still possible in this 21st century, but it's not required. It is as simple as, it could be simple as connecting with nature that is just outside of where you live. It could be just enjoying the company and sharing heart to heart with your animal companions, or listening or feeling to the winds and the kiss of the sun and of the moon, and of the divine. Acts of kindness, prayer, meditation, that inspiration to develop your spiritual and intuitive gifts to connect, to transcend. These are things that cost nothing. They're right around you. They're within you. And all it requires is for you to give quality time to be able to receive from these forms of wisdom that have always been there. They have always been there. So what I would say to you, my friends, I would love to hear, where do you get your wisdom from? From nature. What inspires you in nature? If there's any secret teachings or meditations, where do you turn to? Are you a seeker? What are you looking for? And in that regard, if there's any of you who would like to grow in your practices, learning how to grow your spiritual gifts or so forth, it would be my pleasure and my honor to assist you, whether it be through a mentoring or having a reading or a session, which you can just do through my website. So as always, I thank you for spending time with me. If you found this video useful, please like it, share it. For those of you who've subscribed, thank you for putting on that notification, that bell icon. And for those of you who haven't yet, I would welcome you to join us. So it is always a pleasure to share this time with you. Please, your friendly neighborhood shaman, prescription from your friendly neighborhood shaman, go out into nature, take that time to do acts of kindness, pray, meditate, read something inspiring, uplifting that lifts your spirit. And in that way, not only do you enrich yourself, the world does become a brighter place, a much brighter place from these simple practices and acts. So with this, my friends, Wanishi, thank you so much. Bright blessings to you and yours. Until we speak again.